Emergency landings, aborted takeoffs, grounded flights. Those are just a few of the problems plaguing Allegiant Air as the Las Vegas-based No Frills airline is under federal investigation over ongoing safety and maintenance issues. Our own chief investigator Darcy Spears is digging deeper into concerns that Allegiant is putting profit over passengers.
Everything's a gamble in Las Vegas, but your safety in the air should not be.
What happened to us that day was not right.
12D, 12E, and 12F. Those were the seats Sydney, Samantha, and Jennifer Lalore occupied excitedly the morning of August 6th on their way to Monterey Bay to visit family.
Then these were my pajamas that I was going to take.
But instead of unpacking in California, 9-year-old Samantha is putting her clothes back at home in Las Vegas after that end of summer trip was abruptly aborted.
I felt like we were almost taking off that moment right before, and it was like a jarring, and it was a loud bang.
Their 9 a.m. flight turned back to the gate due to a mechanical issue. When it couldn't be fixed, they waited 8 hours to board another Allegiant plane.
We boarded, buckled up, put our bags up, bins were closed. 5:30 came and they said we were just going to wait for paperwork. And so we waited, and 5:45 came, and then 6 o'clock came, and I had that sinking feeling again.
Turned out there were mechanical issues with that plane too. Allegiant offered them a third set of wings later that night, but Samantha drew the line after 2 planes on the same day had failed.
If the planes aren't doing well, your customers aren't going to do well.
Allegiant consistently claims their safety record is among the best in the industry. We wanted to question them about that, but they've refused every request we've made for an on-camera interview. We've been trying for weeks, but they just won't do it. Their refusal will not prevent us, though, from revealing what we've uncovered.
Airlines have to file service difficulty reports when something goes wrong, but if it's not major and during flight, the FAA lets the airline decide whether the malfunction was dangerous enough to report.
We examined Allegiant's record and found they filed reports for something as simple as changing out a battery in an emergency flashlight, but there was no report filed for the Lalore family's aborted takeoff.
Industry insiders tell Contact 13 the engine on the Lalore's first flight overheated and that a hot engine is not a healthy engine. As for 2 problems on 2 planes in one day,
that's not uncommon at Allegiant. We've seen it happen time again where what they call the rescue airplane has maintenance issues as well.
Chris Moore is chairman of the Aviation Mechanics Coalition.
Would you fly Allegiant Airlines?
I don't think so. If you continue to run an airline and not put money into maintenance, eventually you're going to get into a situation that you can't recover from.
Allegiant planes made 3 emergency landings in a 2-week period from the end of July to the beginning of August. 2 due to engine issues and 1 ran low on fuel. On August 3rd, a flight from Las Vegas to Montana was diverted back to McCarran after pilots had to shut down a heavily vibrating engine. On August 6th, the Lalore's flights to Monterey never got off the ground, and on the 17th, a Las Vegas to Peoria, Illinois flight failed after an out-of-control takeoff attempt. The plane's nose came up prematurely, and pilots couldn't force it back down.
That's one of the issues that made the hair on the back of my neck stand up when I saw this issue, because it reminds me so much of pre-accident ValueJet that it makes me very, very nervous.
John Golia is a former member of the National Transportation Safety Board. He investigated the 1996 crash of ValueJet Flight 592 in Florida, which killed 110 people. We spoke to him via FaceTime.
The old airplanes and issues with who does the maintenance, the qualification of maintenance, is something that I was very much involved with the ValueJet accident in the Everglades.
In the wake of that deadly crash, ValueJet folded after being temporarily grounded by the FAA for serious operational deficiencies. Maurice Gallagher Jr. was one of the ValueJet founders. He is now chairman and CEO of Allegiant Air.
Well, that raises the issue even further, doesn't it? Do we have another ValueJet in the making?
Contact 13 obtained a 2013 FAA report showing systemic safety and regulatory issues. Allegiant was cited for improper aircraft maintenance documentation, failing to properly track structural defects, and improper classification of major versus minor repairs. There were also unsafe takeoff procedures and flight attendants and ramp workers who lacked knowledge about emergency equipment and procedures. For the most part, all the FAA did was write letters to Allegiant to correct the deficiencies.
Please, if the FAA watches this, please get involved. Please get on, do your job and get into this airline.
Golias says the FAA has minimum standards, but he's seen time and again where an airline isn't even operating at the minimum, and the FAA hasn't done anything about it.
The FAA has taken enforcement action against Allegiant 5 times since 2006 for a total of more than $250,000 in civil penalties. Issues ranged from maintenance to alleged violations of alcohol and drug testing regulations. But that fine is just a drop in the bucket for Allegiant. The airline reported a net income of $119 million in just the first half of this year. Darcy Spears, Channel 13, Action News.